on his way. Devil is on his way. Devil is on his way, motherfucker. The devil gonna make you pay. Fall to your knees. Devil is on his way. Fall to your knees. Devil gonna make you pay. Fall to your knees. Devil is on his way.
Mountain Murders is an Appalachian true crime podcast. Some content may not be suitable for all listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
We say fuck a lot.
Hey y'all, welcome back to Mountain Murders.
I'm Heather.
And I'm a very informed Dylan.
That is fake news. Okay. We need to discuss something with our listeners.
Okay.
And that is the fact that Dylan does not know how to keyword search for information on the internet.
I don't agree with that.
It happens all the time. You will tell me about an article you read, and then you will say, I lost it. I don't know how to find that information. I've looked everywhere for it, right?
Everywhere.
All over the Googles. I will take just a tiny bit of information that you gave me and type it in and find the article. And you're like, I spent an hour looking for it. Because you don't put in the right keywords. And it blows my mind. It's the same when you're looking for your keys or something and I tell you they're right there and you will come back 10 minutes later and be like, I looked everywhere.
Yeah,
and they
everywhere.
were seriously like in your face.
And that is why you're the lead researcher here at Mountain Murders.
Because you don't know how to find information.
That's true.
Is it because you're lazy?
No, I tried.
No, I think you're lazy and you don't want to do it. So you act stupid.
No. I am not feigning.
Okay, so is this stupidity an act is my question. Because sometimes I feel like it's an act. You cannot be this dumb.
I am not feigning incompetence so you won't ask me to do stuff. That's ridiculous. And you take that back right now.
I think that's the case. Because you can't be this dumb.
And I'm not acting stupid. So this is real.
We have to. Are you really this dumb?
Maybe. My brain works different, baby. And you know this. I can't, sometimes I just can't even control it. I'm like.
Okay. So let's give our listeners some context. Dylan was telling me a story. Did you see this on TikTok or something?
No. I was down a rabbit hole last night.
Okay, so Dylan was
child sex trafficking. Okay, you want to know what I was doing, Heather?
Yes. Give us the full story.
I stumbled upon this podcast. It's a conspiracy podcast, modern conspiracy. If anybody wants to listen, the guy does a pretty good job. And he mentioned a story where there was baby corpses. Baby bodies. Which one sounds better? Little babies found in a funeral home. Like a lot of them. 99. 100. Just stored in boxes and shit. Like in the wall and stuff. Very strange. So I was thought to myself, is that a real story? Right? So I looked.
No, tell me what you searched.
I searched infants found at a funeral home. Okay, so is an infant's a live child? Is that where I went wrong? Because it didn't pull up anything.
Okay, I immediately type in.
So I assumed Google had scrubbed the internet and did not want me to know this information.
Yeah, he's swearing by it. Okay, talking about you need to get a Tor browser or something.
Yeah, I need to go use DuckDuckGo and with a Tor browser and maybe even a VPN, I'm not sure, and possibly a burner laptop that I can throw out the window of the car while I'm driving.
Okay. Yeah, the tinfoil hat is appropriate in the situation. I will make you one later. I have some.
Okay.
I have some aluminum foil in there. Okay. Now I keyword search this and immediately it pops up. And it's a story from 2018, Detroit, Michigan, 2 separate funeral homes. The first one, they found 11 infant corpses at this Detroit funeral home. And then the second article says that at a second Detroit funeral home, they find 63 fetuses and infants.
Why?
That is the burning question, Dylan.
Okay. Well, if you don't know, I'll say this right quick. We are back with batshit crazy, and I have been lost down the holes of conspiracy. So if you'd like to actually hear more conspiracy stuff or anything weird and paranormal, check out our podcast, Batshit Crazy.
Actually, we just dropped a brand new episode there. For some reason, Spreaker, our hosting site, is not distributing it to Apple and Spotify. I don't know why.
I know
So
why.
now I'm believing it's a vast conspiracy.
They looked at the audio. They heard what we was talking
They
about.
don't want us to get word out.
They looked
the
at the
listeners.
audio.
But if you go to Spreaker.com, you can find Batshit Crazy, and hopefully soon it will get pushed out to all the other platforms where you listen to Mountain Murders.
Our patrons are getting it because they're protected behind the paywall.
It's true. If you want to sign up at patreon.com/Mountain Murders Podcast, you get ad-free episodes, including Batshit Crazy. So 2 podcasts for the price of 1.
Wow. Okay, so thank you for finding out information for me. I find it very strange. Why would you have literal boxes of fetus or human corpse or baby corpses? And some of them were even stored like inside the wall, like hidden.
Well, it is a 4-year-old story.
It's very strange. I'm good at...
Yeah, so it's a 4-year-old story, but thank you for shedding light on it in 2022.
And thank you for shedding light on and letting people know what the skills that I actually really do bring to the table.
Not Googling. Not using Google.
I'm more of a free thinker.
This happens all the time. I mean, I'm just blown away because every single time you say I searched and searched, couldn't find anything, in 2 seconds I pull it up and you're like, well, how'd you do that?
Yeah, where did you find that at?
Because I typed in the appropriate keywords.
Okay, so
It blows my mind, Dylan.
Here we are on a beautiful weekend of Mountain Murders.
We have a case that is going to blow your mind.
You know,
One of the most disturbing and bizarre true crime cases we've covered, and that's saying a lot.
Really?
Because we've talked about some fucked up shit on this podcast.
It's true. And she told me to study last night, and I was at work all night, and I did not have the opportunity because it was a fucking shit show. So I am ready to go along the journey with our listeners.
Well, you just told me a minute ago you had time to get down a rabbit hole. So see, you're lying.
Well,
this is what you do.
No, look.
Y'all witnessing this.
Take a step back.
Dylan's a liar.
My homework was a movie, and I was listening to podcasts while I was working. So that's how I ended up firmly down the rabbit hole.
Did you guys hear this?
Oh my God, I was so stinky and tired this morning. I worked so hard. All right, so let's go, but I know that you will take me on this journey.
So not only are you dumb, but you're also a liar. Let's get started.
I'm a dumb liar.
You are a big
That's not a
dumb
good
liar.
mix. But, the other day we went down there and
I deserve an award for tolerating this man. We are about to celebrate our 4-year anniversary.
4 years.
Married for 4 years. Can you believe it? I can't believe I've put up with you for 4 years.
Does it seem like that long?
Trust me, it seems like 60. Every day with you is like a damned eternity. Okay.
And, I love you, so maybe that's just because I'm dumb.
I love you too.
I mean, over here in the
I
dark.
don't. Maybe I love you because you're dumb.
Oh.
You
But I'm smart.
You're just malleable.
So there's that.
Okay. Let's get started. We are still in Maryland this month.
Good old Maryland.
Sharon Rena Denberg was born September 20th of 1961 in Baltimore, Maryland. The first of 4 daughters born to Orthodox Jewish parents. Growing up, her family attended the Beth Philo congregation. Her father was a cantor at the synagogue, which is a person who sings and leads people in prayer during the service. Sharon's family took their religious practices and heritage very seriously, and they were considered quite strict. Her parents were considered very strict while she was growing up. Sharon was described by many who grew up with her as, quote, as normal as you can get. She wasn't really outstanding in any way, but did play sports and sang in the school chorus. By 1979, Sharon graduated from Pikesville High School. She went on to work as a library aide and as a nurse's assistant. In 1991, Sharon met a man named Victor. His name was Victor Lopatka.
Oh, wow.
And he was a construction worker. However, Sharon's family did not approve of this marriage because he was Catholic. Sharon rejected her family's opinion and forged on. The Denbergs cut off contact with their daughter, and reportedly Sharon never heard from them again.
That is a hell of a reason to sever contact with your child.
Because you disapprove of their marriage
Well,
to
because
a Gentile?
They marry someone of a different religion. I mean, I could never do that. Could you?
Well, one, I'm not very religious.
Well, we're not religious at all. Don't
so
sugarcoat it.
that's not going to be a problem, I wouldn't say.
No.
But anywho.
But yeah, that's so extreme to me. I mean, to be that devout in your belief to cut your own child off because of a disagreement like that, it's mind-boggling.
Well, through my research, several of Sharon's friends concluded that perhaps the marriage was Sharon's way of breaking free from her very traditional religious family.
Because she knew damn well how they would react.
Exactly. And almost as if she wanted to be estranged from them. Like she wanted to remove herself from her family entirely and knew this would be the way to do it. Now, that's not to discount that Sharon wasn't in love with her husband, but some people did speculate that it was a way out.
Oh, so you're telling me you're not going to talk to me or meddle in my business or try to control me anymore? Sign me up, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much my relationship with my parents. Oh, I'm the black sheep. Hell yeah.
Ooh, yeah, you're like Brer Rabbit. Please don't throw me in the briar patch.
Please don't speak to me for the next 10 years. That would be terrible. Living my life without drama and narcissism. Woo.
Okay, so Sharon
Okay.
has her hubby. She's happy. Seemingly happy. Okay.
Sharon and Victor moved to Hampstead, Maryland, a rural town about 45 miles northwest of Baltimore. The couple purchased a rancher house and settled into a seemingly quiet, normal married life in their little cul-de-sac neighborhood, right? Picturesque neighborhood, quiet, a lot of families.
Yeah, there's something about a cul-de-sac. I guess it being the dead end like that, and typically no traffic comes through there unless it's going to the one of the 3 or 4 houses on it. They always seem like they're super kind of tight-knit neighbor
Well, it
groups
seems like,
usually.
and I don't know because I've never lived in a cul-de-sac, but almost like it would be a safe place for your kids,
Yeah.
or you would feel safe, like allowing your kids to kind of roam around that street or that area.
Yeah, there's no through traffic. It's
Right.
nice and quiet.
Get the kids out riding their bikes around,
Yeah.
and you wouldn't really have to worry about them.
As long as you don't have some asshole nightmare neighbor, you're going to be fine.
For 6 years, the Lopatka's life seemed routine. Victor worked construction during the day, while Sharon stayed home and focused on building internet-based businesses. Along with a friend, Sharon and a neighbor, this neighbor friend, produced a small how-to booklet, which focused on country crafts and home decor. The women sold their brochures at craft fairs, church events, and ladies' events. Online, her website, House of Dion, sold the decor guides for $7. Quote, home decorating secrets seen in the posh homes from New England states to the Hollywood homes can now be yours.
Oh, God.
Boasting quick and easy tips for decorating a home.
Damn. That's like from the castles and the mansions straight to your rancher, right?
Yes.
Yes, you too can own the secrets of the upper middle class.
Exactly.
Nice. I kind of want to know the secrets now.
Just a little spray paint. Anyway, she also had a website called Classified Concepts, which offered a rewrite of ad copy. And she also ran websites for psychic readings, one called Psychics Know All and another Dion Enterprises. The sites offered psychic readings by a warlock named Velado, who was a gifted wizard created by Sharon. So this gifted wizard didn't actually exist.
And that's okay. He's still going to serve his fake purpose.
Through the site, Sharon, posing as Velado, would offer readings and sell curses for a fee.
So that's kind of interesting. That right there, coming from this strict religious family, traditional religious family, that she would come up with something like that. I think find that interesting.
Psychic readings.
Well, psychic readings by a warlock, and she even named him and everything. And he's a wizard.
Velado.
He's a wizard too, by the way. And
Exactly. And you can buy a curse.
yeah, to buy one get
Or a
two.
magic spell.
Yeah, buy one and get 2 free.
Man, I miss the early days of the internet when you could sucker people into things like this.
Just with a good web page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just need a nice Angel Fire or GeoCities webpage.
Yeah.
Just lock them right in. They're sending you $50 for a magic spell. Now people just go on Pinterest and find the magic spells.
You did sell a haunted doll for $75.
Well, there was that. Look, Dylan, people want to believe. And just because you don't believe in the magic, in the supernatural, in the haunted doll, in the ritual spells that you can buy online.
Hey, I didn't say I didn't believe.
You know, you just have a really negative attitude.
It's not true.
For a man who doesn't know how to use a search engine, you have a really negative attitude. Okay? So on the internet, Sharon found solace. A lot of people turn to the anonymity of the internet. They can be whoever they want, explore different interests, and meet new people, all from the safety of their homes. And we've seen this a lot, and the internet, of course, has evolved over the last 30 years. But remember back in the 90s when AOL was kind of first entering the scene and you could get the dial-up in your house? Chat rooms, these internet forums. I mean, this was like a big deal. It was the first time that people could go to this almost like an imaginary space that doesn't really exist, cyberspace. It was like the new frontier.
But you interact with people directly.
Interact with people, and you can be whoever you want to be.
I've never took on any type of persona online. Have you?
No. I mean, other than like my burlesque character or something when I was kind of doing promotions with that.
Yeah. But I mean, actively acting like someone else in chat rooms and on boards and stuff like that.
Like catfishing and that kind of thing.
Whatever.
Because that's almost what I think of with this, is that you're catfishing people into thinking you're a completely different person.
So even if it's not romantic, you're still kind of tricking them like that.
Well, yeah. And
okay.
Sharon embraced the anonymity. She assumed different identities, new names, appearances, occupations, and desires. One of Sharon's characters was a woman named Miranda. On the internet, Miranda was 5'6" and weighed about 120 pounds. She was stunningly beautiful. Miranda also sold her worn undergarments for a fair price.
Damn, Sharon's hustling, bro.
Sharon was also an adult film actress on the internet named Nancy Carlson, who made custom content. Sharon missed a golden opportunity for an OnlyFans account. She had OnlyFans before it was a thing.
Yeah.
Making custom content. She was a content creator.
Custom content.
Back in the 90s.
You dream it, I'll film it.
Yes.
Okay, and send you the VHS.
Sharon also had another identity named Gina, who was a plus-size dominatrix with a brassy personality. She referred to Gina in the first person, calling herself a giantess, detailing how the gorgeous giant goddess would crush men like bugs.
Oh, my God.
For months, Sharon trolled chat rooms and forums looking for specific kinds of people, Dylan.
Well, yeah, dare I use the word gullible? But, you know, it's funny. That's the thing about the internet. Not only does a person like Sharon come there who wants to assume these other personas or identities, you have other people coming there looking for someone like Sharon. Someone who can...
Or Gina, or Miranda,
who can
or Nancy.
Direct them. You know, I mean, they're just kind of filling out their own, what they like. And, you know, you take someone who's in some small town somewhere, really, you know, just
It's
regular.
like a version of role-playing.
Yeah, right.
It was in August of 1996 that Sharon made a connection with veteran users of a specific chat room. As Gina, Sharon laid out a bizarre fantasy. Others were questioning how serious this poster might be. The post garnered a lot of attention and subsequent comments. It said, quote, "Hi, my name is Gina. I kind of have a fascination with torturing till death. Of course, I can't speak about it with my family or friends. Would love to share an email exchange with someone." Well, you know what, Sharon? You should have met Armie Hammer, the actor.
Oh, yeah?
He has a cannibal fetish, and you guys could get... He wanted to torture you. He could eat you. This would all work out.
So he wanted to eat people.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh,
I can't wait to watch House of Hammer on Discovery Plus. This new, I think it's a 3-part docuseries about the actor Armie Hammer and his cannibalism fetish.
That was his name? I don't think I've heard of this guy before. Okay, we'll check that out together.
He's like a...
Armie Hammer.
Yeah, this just came out.
Okay.
This story broke recently, like in the last 4 or 5 months.
Maybe we should have opened with that instead of you deriding me.
I can't help that you're dumb.
That's okay. Okay, so I know I'm scared. I think I know where this is going. but I'm just going to keep. Let's go. Let's keep going.
A woman from Berkeley, California named Tanith, a self-proclaimed sex rights advocate, was one of the people who saw Gina's ad. Several males corresponded with Gina until they realized how serious she was about being tortured to death, and they stopped talking to her. Tanith spoke to the Washington Post in an interview later. Tanith reached out to Gina over the internet and offered to counsel her, but was rejected. Gina, Sharon, told the woman, quote, "I want to surrender completely. I want to die." Gina made attempts to worm her way into the BDSM community, and Tanith tried explaining the difference between fantasy and reality. But Gina, aka Sharon, was unmoved. Though Tanith was offering well-intentioned advice, Gina rebuffed her messages, saying, quote, "I didn't ask for you preaching to me."
Damn, she's like, stay in your lane, bitch.
Exactly.
Okay, but the other woman's concerned,
Yes.
right?
Sharon joined fetishfeet.com and sexbondage.com, seeking out other members who posted about bondage, S&M, and necrophilia. Later, the News and Observer, a Raleigh, North Carolina-based newspaper, will uncover more than 50 message exchanges between Gina, or her character Nancy, and others, where she was sharing her sexual desire about being tortured to death.
Okay, I don't want to shame anyone. If it's what you do, if that's what gets your rocks off, more power to you. As long as it's between two consenting adults, as they say, have at it. It don't matter what it involves. You guys do it. But some of the stuff, man, I mean, it's like you can only be tortured to death one time. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know. Do you get when it gets that intense? Do you understand it? Like how someone could be into that way? Or is it kind of like something you just don't quite get?
It's very foreign to me. I can't wrap my head around it.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I feel like if it gets to this point where you have a very peculiar fetish and it's taking over your thoughts and your brain to the point that you're reaching out to others, not necessarily to just explore the fantasy, but you're trying to make it a reality, that requires some therapeutic counsel. I feel like you need to seek some psychiatric help.
That's unhealthy at that point.
It does, yeah. I mean, I feel like an obsession with anything is unhealthy, but a sexual obsession that includes death,
yes,
torture,
physical, yes,
extreme physical harm to your person, to me that you need some psychiatric help.
That fantasy is so extreme that making it reality would be very unhealthy and dangerous for you, right?
Yes.
And that's what strikes me as that's the part I can't quite understand. And I get fantasizing something.
You do?
Well, what they say is the best fantasies are best left in fantasy world or whatever. You know what I mean? Because oftentimes, even something a lot milder, when you try to bring it into reality, it's nothing like you thought it was going to be, right?
I don't know.
Well, yeah.
I feel like this is a conversation we should have later.
Well, no, look, don't try to put out there that, some like fish to like eat skin off my toes while you like touch my taint. Okay.
What?
That's exactly. I'm not, I don't have any weird stuff like that. I don't.
Who would even think of that?
I don't know. It just stuff pops around in my head. It's weird.
Just maybe you need some help.
Okay, let's get back to it.
Somebody help him. Lopatka posted an ad online using the name Nancy Carlson to promote pornographic videos of women being... Okay, I'm going to give you guys a trigger warning, and then I'm going to get into this.
Okay.
I should have given you guys a trigger warning at the beginning of the episode because it's pretty fucked up.
Maybe.
Trigger warning, you might want to skip ahead a couple of minutes. Or maybe turn it off if you have an issue with very fucked up sexual shit.
Yeah, I think this is only going to get darker, folks.
Okay, so Lopatka posted an ad online using the name Nancy Carlson, as I mentioned, to promote pornographic videos of women being raped after they'd been drugged, hypnotized, or rendered unconscious with chloroform.
Okay, that's disgusting.
Yes.
And that's very dark.
Now, this was obviously acting and staged.
Okay, but still.
But this is what Nancy, I use that word, that name loosely, Sharon is posting online in these chat room, like trying to get attention, trying to recruit people into her dark world. Lopatka advertised a number of other videos that catered to different sexual fetishes, including feet, extreme weight gain, and large women-crushing men. She also offered to create custom 30-minute videos in which she would fulfill any request for just $100. Through these messages, including one posted to a group about necrophilia, Lopatka met multiple people with whom she discussed her fantasies about being tortured to death. In fact, she actually went to New Jersey to meet one of these men in person, but when he realized Sharon seriously wanted someone to torture her until she died, he refused to help her fulfill this macabre fantasy.
See, it's funny. Her fantasy is so extreme. Even the people around this, supposed community who like to indulge and talk crazy online, and act
bizarre sexual fetishes
Yeah.
and fantasies. Yes,
and they're acting like they're into this hardcore shit. Well, Sharon shows up, and then they very quickly realize this woman is not. It's not. She's trying to do this, and then they don't want any part of it because they think about the real world ramifications of those actions.
After weeding through the messages, Sharon finally met a user who went by Slow Hand or Toyman around August of 1996, shortly after she had began posting about these various fantasies, the video offers, whatnot. Through email, the pair began exchanging disturbing messages, Dylan.
Damn yo mush mouth
For
bitch.
the next 6 weeks. Now I'm the dumb one. Over 900 emails were sent between the pair, and all contained depictions of graphic sex and violence. 900 emails.
Damn, that's a lot.
How does a person have that much time on their hands?
I haven't sent 900 emails in my lifetime.
I know. I've seen you try to use email.
I can actually do it now. I can.
That's cute.
You send me one, I'll reply.
Yeah, but you still have to have help like attaching documents.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not going to attach anything. That's crazy. What am I, a genius? You can tell I haven't worked in an office setting.
Never. Robert Frederick Glass, known as Bobby, was a computer analyst in Catawba County, North Carolina.
Hey, shout out Catawba.
Where he worked in and for the county government. Yeah, Catawba County, not too far away from us.
No, it's just a couple of counties that way.
He had been a good employee for 16 years, programming tax rolls and tracking county vehicle gas-like consumption. So, very tedious, boring job, a lot of spreadsheets. Excel whiz.
Oh, I'm sorry, did you say something? I just went to sleep.
Glass had been married to his wife Sherry for nearly 14 years, until May of 1996, when she made a shocking discovery. The father of 3 had been spending way too much time online, and his wife was not happy about it. Their marriage was suffering. He was essentially ignoring his wife, like the whole night.
Well, yeah. No.
She, in an interview, she described that he would stay up all night on the computer, and then she would have to, quote, beat him out of the bed in the morning to go to work because he would sit up all night online.
Yeah, with the and I'm sure it happened before with other things, video games or maybe something that had been around longer. But with the computer and the internet, you actually ended up in a situation where you could feel lonely, and that person's right there, maybe even in the same room with you, or they're sitting there in the kitchen or wherever the computer's set up, and you can feel alone while that person's there, just ignoring you.
Sherry decided to log into her husband's email account, and when she did, she found shocking messages about sex and raw violence. Sherry left her husband.
Good for her.
Took the kids. Newly single, the 45-year-old was living in a trailer in Caldwell County, about 75 miles north of Charlotte. We should mention our neighbor decided to crank up his excavator next door. If you're hearing a strange noise in the background, it's not Dylan's stomach growling.
Not this time.
It's the neighbor on his mini excavator.
Yeah, man, we're going to have a real podcast studio one day, baby.
It is amazing to me how it never fails when we're podcasting, we're trying to record. We hear the fire truck from the nearby fire station.
If you listen regularly, you've heard us mention that many a time. They're rolling
This
all
next
the
door
equipment.
neighbor either has his chainsaw out, his excavator, his lawnmower, always.
It's a very active man.
The most inopportune times, it seems.
No, we can sit here for 3 days in a row. We don't hear a word, don't hear a sound. But by God,
He's like, it's Sunday afternoon. Heather and Dylan are recording. I'm going to get out the excavator. What's he even doing?
I don't know, baby. It's just a cute little
He just likes
excavator.
to ride it around the yard.
I get it because I want to get on it too, but I haven't worked up the nerve to ask him if I can ride it.
With his evenings free now, Bobby Glass delved into his sexual obsession, sending messages and sorted images from his trailer to like-minded chat friends across the globe. Bobby had fallen and fallen hard. He was raised by a prominent figure in town, Joe Glass, who was a beloved civic leader. Bobby had grown up in an antebellum mansion with white columns, and it was so fancy, Dylan, they had the letter G carved into the wooden shutters on the house.
Damn, that's pretty fancy.
So really, like, huge, big, beautiful home. Dad, very loved in town, wonderful guy, great leader. He came from money. But since his father's death, the home had fallen into extreme disrepair. Bobby was more quiet and reserved, not at all the social or public figure his father had once been. Glass drove 42 miles every day to Catawba County, where he earned about $38,000 a year as a computer analyst. He knew computers. At home, he had an IBM compatible with 66 megahertz, 8 megabytes of RAM, and a gig of hard drive. Enough to make any geek in the late 90s pop a boner.
Damn, and I guarantee all our phones are more powerful than that computer now.
Exactly.
Way more.
This was a very sought after
Well,
piece of computer machinery back in the day.
this late 90s?
This would have been 96.
Okay, so almost mid 90s. A lot of the only people who actually had a computer at their home were typically this type of guy.
We had a computer.
You did?
We had the HP desktop
Yeah.
with Windows 95 on it.
See, and you've acted like you were from a similar social class as me. And it's not even close.
My mom was a teacher.
We weren't even allowed to go into buildings that had computers.
My mom bought this computer. She was a teacher, so it was my mom's computer.
Right.
She would use it for whatever
You
teaching
guys.
shit she did.
Y'all were rich.
We were definitely not. But by this point, we had moved from being incredibly poor to just being a single mother who's a teacher poor. Right?
No, but most people, like your mom was a teacher. She was in the know about
we had moved on up in the social class a little bit. We had
She
moved
was-
on up out the trailer park into a rental house. So we was walking in high cotton.
She was in the know about the computers and how cool they can be and how helpful they can be. But it's most of the people, a lot of the people that had them were a guy like this or
Exactly.
a woman like this.
We were just doing basic like word processing. I did type school papers on this thing. We would try to get on the internet, but it would seriously take like an hour to get on with dial-up and then would kick you off in like 2 minutes. So it wasn't really like you could go do the chat room thing because our internet was so shitty in a small, tiny town.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
We had a couple of computer games.
Oh.
My mom's boyfriend, he had like a Doom game
Ooh.
on this computer, but it
Or
was
what-
super shitty.
Was it Doom or Quake?
I think it was Doom.
It was one of the very early ones. Yeah. Nice.
Because it had like this big dude and he was like scary looking, you know?
But the graphics were
And
shit.
the graphics were terrible, but at the time we
You
were
didn't think it was
very
terrible. Yes.
impressed with this. Yeah. Okay. In the messages Sharon sent to Bobby, Lopatka told him she wanted to be tortured to death, and she even asked him if he would be willing to fulfill her shocking fantasy. Bobby responded to her bizarre request by agreeing to kill her, even telling Sharon exactly how he would abuse her and end her life. After communicating through online chat and email for about a month and a half, the pair agreed that Sharon would travel more than 400 miles from Maryland to North Carolina to meet Bobby in person.
Oh my God. He's not going to do it, is he? Oh my God.
On October 13th, Sharon drove her Honda Civic to the Amtrak station in downtown Baltimore and boarded a train bound for Charlotte, North Carolina. Sharon told her husband she was planning to visit friends in Georgia for several days in order to not arouse suspicion. Meeting at the Charlotte Amtrak station, Sharon climbed into Bobby's beat-up pickup truck, where he drove her over an hour to the rural trailer he was now living in.
So she's met this dude online. Very dangerous what Sharon's doing. And traveled a long distance to meet him. And now she's in his territory, in his truck, in his trailer out in the sticks.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
This trailer out in the sticks surrounded by feral dogs.
There's feral dogs. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know why the feral dogs. It was too much for me.
Well, I think they were just mutts that he
okay.
kept around, but one newspaper article described them as feral dogs, and I was thinking this vicious pack of like get the feral dogs from the beast pen.
Release the pack.
Exactly, but I think they were just like a bunch of mutt like hound dogs and stuff that just kind of ran around the property.
The reporter was not feeling that shit.
Not like the feral dogs.
No.
After she was gone a few days, Victor found a letter Sharon had left behind for him sitting by the computer. The note explained she wasn't coming back, and she asked her husband to not try to find the person who she asked to torture her to death. Instead, she told her husband, quote, "If my body is never retrieved, don't worry, know that I'm at peace."
Okay.
Victor contacted the Maryland State Police. Investigators showed up at their home and began examining the computer. After sifting through hundreds of emails and messages, police were able to make a connection to Robert Glass in North Carolina. The emails specifically detailed their plans to meet up on October 13th at the Amtrak station in Charlotte. By October 25th, law enforcement in Maryland and North Carolina had gathered a lot of evidence. Armed with a search warrant, members of the Caldwell County Sheriff's Department arrived at Glass's trailer, which was outside of Lenoir, while he was at work. Inside the trailer, law enforcement officials were pretty sickened by what they found during the search. The trailer was nasty.
Oh my God, I can smell this trailer.
Like gross pots and pans piled up, bags of trash everywhere, debris. It was like a hoarder house.
And that is not putting down trailers. I love trailers. I grew up in them. I wish I had a good solid trailer right now, I'll be honest with you. I like the way they're laid out.
I would live in a trailer right now.
So that's not...
I'm so jealous of these folks who are like
Dude,
renovating these trailers
your
on
big
TikTok.
roomy trailer?
They've like made some badass fucking trailers.
They always have the big living room kitchen area.
I want one of the double wides that has like the big garden tub.
Yeah.
Growing up, I always was so jealous of friends who lived in double wides and had that big fancy garden tub bathtub.
You know what's
Thought they were rich.
almost as good as a double wide is the extra wide 85 or 82 footer. That place is like a damn mansion, bro. It's extra wide.
My dad had a double wide for a period,
Oh my God.
like in the late 90s when he was married to his second wife.
You just want a tub that
Dude.
we fit in.
Yeah, he had one of the garden tubs, and I was just like, oh yeah. It was the only reason I'd ever want to go spend the night at his house. So I could
Use this tub.
use the big tub. Exactly.
The big
And it had
tub.
like the jets in it.
Oh my gosh.
Like the garden jet tub or whatever.
Yes. Okay.
Living the life.
So the cops are here, and it's not looking good in this nasty trailer.
Well, no, it's like a hoarder trailer. I mean, it's really gross, grody, old food, stanky, dirty clothes everywhere, bags of trash, junk.
I must say, a trailer will deteriorate very quickly if it's not kept up. And so I could only imagine what this place is like.
Well, yeah, so they're completely repulsed by just the cleanliness of the place, right? But then there are pornographic items everywhere. Magazines, videos, sexual implements, Dylan. You know, like toys and things.
And so his woman left with the kids when she found...
Yeah, I'm not sure if she like kicked him out or if she left. I kind of got the impression that this trailer, he'd maybe moved into
Okay.
this trailer. I'm not 100% sure on that. I tried
Okay.
to find information about if this had once been like the family home.
Right. Who went where? Who
Or if
moved?
she kicked him out and he stayed, he went and moved into this trailer.
Sharon wasn't having it. Right. And she took the kids. And
Sherry
wasn't having it.
No.
Okay.
So they find this pornography, these sexual implements, which I
Okay.
couldn't figure out another way to say, like, there was like big dildos and shit everywhere. I don't know. And other items relating to sex and bondage. There were thousands of computer disks, some of them containing child pornography. And this is a man who has 2 daughters and a young son. All of his kids at this time, I believe, are under the age of 10.
Yeah, he's gross.
So not only is this just disgusting, but to think this man has children and he's got, okay, I'm repulsed. They also found items that would later be identified as belonging to Sharon Lopatka. While investigators were inside the trailer, another officer walked the perimeter around the yard. About 80 feet from the home, just along the tree line, the officer discovered what appeared to be a freshly dug grave. Inside the pit, investigators found the body of Sharon. Police would later state if the grave had been dug a few more feet farther into the woods, they probably wouldn't have found it on the initial search. Because Sharon weighed a lot more than Robert Glass, law enforcement speculated he couldn't physically drag her limp body any farther and chose to bury her in this particular spot.
Well, Sharon was a big girl, or he's just
She
a little
was plus
guy?
size. Sharon probably weighed about 200.
Okay, and
Around 200, which, I mean, honestly, I don't really consider that to be that big.
No.
But I guess in the 90s, they were trying to make it out like, she was.
Well, yeah, but if he's
She
about
probably weighed about 200, but yeah, he was described as like a slight,
like a
he was not a,
$150,
he was like a
$60.
kind of a small man.
She was bigger than him.
Yes.
And when you bring in a dead body, the dead weight, it changes things considerably, and that makes sense. It'd be very hard to maneuver someone bigger than you.
Right, and I just feel like the newspaper articles at the time, they were trying to report it like she was
600-pound woman.
She was a very large woman, and honestly, she weighed about 200 pounds, which I don't think is really that
No,
sizable.
certainly not.
I mean, I'm probably pushing about 200 pounds. Sharon was buried only about 2.5 feet below the surface. Her hands and feet were bound with rope, and a nylon cord was wrapped tightly around her neck. Her corpse had scratches on it, but nothing else to suggest any kind of physical attack had taken place. An autopsy determined she had perished about 3 days after arriving on or around October 16th. Sharon had stayed at Robert's trailer willingly during the day while he was at work. The couple spent their evenings engaging in extremely violent and bizarre sexual fantasies. After piecing together the correspondence, the sheriff's department believed Sharon had fully consented to travel from Baltimore to North Carolina, engage in sexual torture, and be killed. Sharon had been a willing participant in her own death, and this case was just baffling.
So wow. What do you do with that? Even if you don't agree with her fantasies, their choices, or anything, that's really, how do you even approach that? Do you get the guy for murder?
Again, it is, investigators were baffled, as I said, and as were most people. It was something else.
And there's actually evidence, paper trail or electronic trail, saying, leading all the way up to the moment of her death, basically, of her willingness to do this, can't just wait to find somebody that will help her fulfill this dark fantasy. Very interesting.
Once in custody, Bobby Glass told investigators he had engaged in consensual sex with no intention of actually murdering Sharon. Sharon's death had been accidental. Tying her up had been a mutual interest and was to help her climax during intercourse.
So, erotic asphyxiation. That's right. I can't say it.
Well, she wanted the bondage, and
Choke
yes,
her
I'm
while she come.
assuming the.
Sorry.
We know what it means, Dylan.
Yeah. I had to get it out. Asphyxiation. I can't say that word.
Well, I'm not going to ask you to Google it. The medical examiner didn't find
Bitch.
any. Well, I may be a bitch, but at least I'm not a dumb bitch.
Yeah, you just wait till
Dumb
later.
bitch. The
I want
medical.
you to stick your foot in my ass.
I'm gonna fucking hurt you. The medical examiner didn't find any ligature marks or bruising on Sharon's body, despite the fact that asphyxiation or, despite the now you've got me confused. So
Let's stop being choked till she
you're
comes.
right. They didn't find any ligature marks or bruising on her neck, despite the fact that she had died from asphyxiation, or that she had this nylon cord wrapped around her neck, which they thought was very strange.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I thought that, up to the, he went all the way through with whatever they wanted to do there and just left her all bound up and stuff and buried her and with the rope around her neck.
Well, he did, but there were no ligature marks.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm
Which
saying.
is
I thought that's how he did it.
Strange, right?
Yeah.
The state charged Glass with first-degree murder. His attorney, Neil Beach, argued that Glass was not a cold-blooded killer, yet the state had hundreds of emails written under the Slow Hand pseudonym, which suggested the murder had been calculated and premeditated.
Dang, that's tricky. That kind of falls under the wording of the law.
Robert Glass was the first murder suspect who was captured based primarily on evidence obtained from email messages.
Really?
Yes. However, the prosecution eventually changed this charge to voluntary manslaughter, and more than 3 years after Sharon's death, Glass entered a guilty plea on January 27th of 2000. He was given 3 to 5 years in prison for Sharon's murder. He was given another 2 years for possession of child pornography. After earning credit for time served for the 3 years he awaited trial in jail, he was scheduled to be free from the Avery Mitchell Correctional Institute on March 4th of 2002. Just 2 weeks before Glass was to be released, the 51-year-old died of a heart attack. He had a spotless prison record and was considered a model inmate. And they were giving him an early release, but not early enough
Ha.
because he kicked the bucket.
Well, and that's how it happens. But what they don't know is he had a dark fantasy about having a heart attack like weeks before he was actually going to get out of jail. So, in the end, he died happy.
After the murder, advice columnist Ann Landers made some disparaging remarks about the internet in a 1997 piece, and she cited the murder. It angered a lot of her readers who argued about the usefulness and educational value of the internet. Landers used the murder to decry the dangers of the World Wide Web.
And she's an author, right?
Ann Landers, she did like the advice column.
Oh, okay.
I believe Dear Abby was Ann Landers.
Why do I like advice columns? There's one that pops up in my Google feed. It's like, and it's laid out that same formula.
I love Dan Savage, Savage Love. He gives people sex advice.
And I just can't
And he's
stop.
very funny.
It'll be like, my husband has no financial interest in the home, but he wants me to sell it and I split the money. What should I do? And I mean, on face value, that's like, who cares? I'm sucked in instantly. And then I see the advice and I'll be like, I agree with that. What is wrong with me?
You need some advice in your life. No, when I was a kid growing up, and my grandparents got the newspaper, and I always would read like the Dear Abby column.
Yeah, of
even
course.
as a child.
Yes.
I thought it was very
Oh,
interesting.
Dear Abby, dude, like in the Reader's Digest
Like
and
even
stuff.
as a kid, I was like, I need some good life advice because my parents are both crazy. So can somebody at least, Dear Abby raised me.
You'd have some black coffee sitting on the back porch reading your Dear Abby.
I did actually.
I know.
My mama drank very dark black coffee, and I would drink it with her. And they would tell me that it would stunt my growth. So that's probably why I'm only 5'3" now.
It worked.
It did. Okay, so we got to continue with this, Dylan. The Mardi Gras effect. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
It's a term referring to the ability to mask one's identity on the internet as a way of expressing oneself freely and anonymously in online chat rooms and news groups, or to assume various personalities to lure people and commit murder.
Wow.
Some suggest that Sharon and Glass may have been suffering from the Mardi Gras effect.
So, okay, to understand, minus the internet, this may have never happened, but beyond the fact that they connected with each other, that they were actually so caught up in the whole anonymity and Mardi Gras effect of the internet that they actually caused this situation. Is that right?
Perhaps.
Okay.
Yes. The case inspired a 2008 film, Downloading Nancy, which premiered at the Sundance Film Festival. The screenwriter Lee Ross admitted to knowing about Sharon's case and finding it intriguing. So it inspired this movie, which I found last night and watched on Tubi.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a minute. Sherry Glass, Robert's ex-wife, received a lot of harsh criticism and blame for the murder.
Why?
This is fucked up. People said if she hadn't left her husband and taken their kids, he wouldn't have fallen victim to his vices.
What kind of 1990 patriarchal bullshit is that? This woman, that the first sign of shit she was uncomfortable with, some dark shit, she took her children and removed them safely away from this man, who was later found to fucking be
Child pornography.
possessing child pornography. So she could have saved her children straight out from all kinds of molestation, who knows what. And for her to be, I'm sorry, that pissed me off, because I think she was one of the smart, most sensible people in the story. She's like, oh yeah, we're not doing this shit. And she left, probably at a great cost to herself financially and, her situation and all that. But she did the damn thing.
Well, I read an interview with Sherry, and she described her husband as highly intelligent and gentle, but stated he clearly had a dark side. Joan Glass, Robert's sister, told the Washington Post it was hard to see her brother depicted as an animal because he was never violent. His murder conviction surprised nearly everyone who knew him. People were shocked. Like, this was completely out of character for him. Sherry, she's, despite the fact that her husband did this and kind of ruined their lives in a way,
Right.
really fucked up their family situation, their marriage, all of this. Her kids didn't have a father.
Everybody knows about it around town.
Right.
Yeah.
She spoke highly of him. She, talked about how intelligent he was. He pushed her to pursue an education. She said she was definitely the opposite of him. She was not like computer savvy at all, but he had pushed her to go to college, and she had gotten a business degree and did have some exposure to using computers at the community college, which he was like proud of her for like taking that step. So it seems like he had he had a good side.
So outside of these dark fantasies and child porn,
which, yeah, is very unforgiving to me.
oh yeah, I don't care if you're just monetizing
I
it.
can't get over
I don't care
it.
if you're if you're not into it, but you're monetizing it by passing it along to other people. You're a piece of shit. You're a piece of shit.
Any involvement in it is
Right.
unacceptable, in my opinion.
But other than those things she didn't know about, he was nice to her. She didn't have issues, is what you're saying.
Yeah, she said obviously their marriage had deteriorated over time,
Yup.
which can happen, I think.
It's like old dirty trailer floor.
Stupid.
Deteriorates over time. Brought it full circle.
But yeah, I think all marriages at some point can deteriorate, or you can run into having problems. And some people, they grow apart. Maybe they're not meant to be together. And she did say that toward the end, he was spending so much time on the internet, and she did confront him about, why are you ignoring me and not spending time with me anymore? And she's like, it was hard for me to admit, and I didn't want to tell anybody. I was embarrassed, but he had told me he just wasn't attracted to me anymore and wasn't like into me anymore. And then that's when I went online and found that he was into all this stuff. And she's like, that's when I left. Because
Okay.
I felt like I just couldn't I couldn't salvage our relationship. He's telling me he's not attracted to me. He doesn't like me like that anymore. And then I find all this dark shit, and I know I have to get out and take my kids.
And she did the healthiest option she had at the moment, and she did it. So
yeah,
for
the fact that anybody in this community
I know.
points a finger or wags their finger at Sherry like she did something, I think it just goes to show our society has at least progressed a bit in the last 30 years.
If you just stayed there and let him kill you, this wouldn't happen to that poor lady.
Because
What the
attitudes
fuck?
have definitely changed, I think. People would not be pointing a finger at Sherry today. But what a bizarre story.
Okay, what else you got? You going to tell us about Downloading Nancy?
Oh, yeah. So let me tell you guys about Downloading Nancy. I found it on Tubi. Is that what it's called? Tubi, Tubi.
It's Tubi, I think.
Right. Which is an app I'm not
It's
that
a free app.
familiar with. It's a free app. You do have to endure the commercial breaks. But
Yeah,
they're
that's
not
okay.
but they're not that bad, They're like a 30-second commercial
Hey, I can deal with that.
every 20 minutes or something. Independent film. It's got a great cast. It has Rufus Sewell, who's a British actor, typically plays like a villain or a bad guy in movies, but he's kind of the husband character in this film. We've got Maria Bello, the actress. She plays Nancy.
I don't know
who's
who
like
that
based
is.
on Sharon. She's been in a lot of stuff. You've seen A History of Violence.
Yeah.
With, our man,
Oh, Viggo Mortensen.
old butt chin,
Yeah.
sexy beast.
He's pretty sexy.
He's hot.
He's a man's man.
Yeah, he is.
I mean,
he's a woman's man too. Ever since I saw G.I. Jane.
Is she the wife in that?
Yeah, the blonde.
Hey, that's a good movie.
She's she's a very pretty actress. Like if you are an actor, if you know who she is or you've seen her, you would be like, oh yeah, because she's
Okay.
real pretty, brown eyes, blonde hair. So she's Nancy. And then Jason Patrick. And I love Jason Patrick.
Really?
Yes. He plays the character I'm assuming is based on Bobby Glass.
Wow.
Now, this movie, I was reading about it, got really bad reviews and has like 19% on Rotten Tomatoes. And people have panned it. Critics were like, this movie sucks. There's no redeeming qualities in this film. I disagree. I didn't hate it.
Okay.
I thought the tone of the movie, it's very depressing, but it's supposed to be depressing. It's a
Right.
fucking depressing topic. I almost feel like the movie made people feel like shit, so they hated it and they wrote negative reviews about it.
So the movie accomplished what it was going for, bringing you into this kind of dark, depressing environment,
Yes.
and making you feel or maybe question yourself to a degree, or question things that you've never even thought about.
I thought it was well done.
Okay. I'm going to check it out.
I mean, it definitely dives into deeper, I guess, the deeper psychological issues with the main character, Nancy, which Sharon didn't really seem to have. Sharon wasn't, from what I could find, Sharon wasn't in therapy. She wasn't dealing with childhood trauma.
No, she seemed to be very...
So this is definitely a film that it was inspired by the story, but it's not
Right.
it's not like a play-by-play. You know, they do take some creative liberty with it. But
Okay.
but Nancy is very like depressed and she has childhood trauma and she's very isolated, spends a lot of time on her computer alone and stuck in kind of a very boring, it's not a bad marriage, it's just boring.
Hey, baby,
Her husband's like obsessed with golf. He works in the golfing industry.
you want to download me?
He laughs golf, and Nancy's not really so much into that. I don't know. I didn't think it was a terrible movie, and Jason Patrick, I thought he did a great job.
You just like him. He's a pretty good actor.
No, he's good in this
I like
part. It's a very weird, dark movie.
Okay.
I would say it's more of a drama than like a horror film.
I'm on board.
Check it out. If you would like to see a movie based on this story, check out Downloading Nancy for free.
Yeah. I think we should start a category for me. Downloading Dylan. I'm going to make some videos.
I don't know, Dylan. Would people be able to type in the proper keywords to search for
No,
Downloading
see, that's the
Dylan?
thing. You got to type in the completely opposite wrong keywords to find this, baby. Yeah. That's my
Highly intelligent.
highly intelligent, very motivated, focused, and organized
Not at all a procrastinator.
sexy man. And I pop up.
Well, you are sexy.
I don't know.
You know you're sexy.
Ah, okay. Well, thank you for that, Heather. That was an interesting case, and it starts in Maryland and it ends just a couple of counties away from us.
I don't know how I'm not familiar with this case.
That's what I know.
Like growing up.
Yeah.
How was this not all over the news?
I bet Jeannie and Kyle have heard this. I bet they know that
They
if they're
probably
from
do.
that area because they're down that way.
Possibly.
All right. So
I think this case brings into question, though, Dylan, legally,
it's my body, my choice.
how could they charge? I mean, I can see how they charge Bobby Glass with murder, but she's consenting to it. It's almost like assisted suicide, like
Well-
Jack Kevorkian
Yeah, exactly.
style.
And there was evidence to prove that this is what she wanted. And it got busted down eventually to manslaughter, which that does not surprise me. I think in the beginning it just shocked the investigators.
Yes.
And they didn't, they were just like, well, fuck that. We have, there might be evidence that she wanted you to do it. There's also evidence, electronic evidence of you planning the murder. So, this is premeditation by definition. So, I don't know. I mean, will we ever be in a world where people have
absolute autonomy over their bodies?
Yes. That's exactly what I was going to say, strangely enough. Yes, to where I can do anything if I want to donate my body, or let's give my body, with a video of me saying this is what I intend to do to people, and let them do with it what they may, even while I'm alive, or or I can do any drugs I want because it's my body. I mean, I wonder if we ever end up in some kind of a world like that.
No,
I think it would be too much for people. It would take
that kind of freedom of choice and freedom. It weirds people out. At the end of the day, I think humans are like little children. We want rules and structures and boundaries.
Even though we don't admit it.
Yeah.
That would freak people out.
We don't want the power to be able to do what thou wilt. We don't.
Well, I think that people should do what thou will.
All right. So thanks for tuning in to this episode of Mountain Murders. Check out Batshit Crazy. We have a brand new episode up there. If you're into conspiracy theories, you can always drop us an email, mountainmurderspodcast@gmail.com. And we have a brand new Instagram account because we cannot get into the old one. Find us at Appalachian True Crime. And, of course, we are still on TikTok and we are still on the Twitter under Mountain Murder.
Oh, God, I have a very important announcement. I
Tell
almost
us
forgot.
the announcement.
Today's episode, and I'm so sorry I'm doing this at the end. That was on me. I forgot. Today's episode is being sponsored by April and Jones, our two newest patrons.
Thank you, April and Jones.
Thank you so very much. We hope you hung on to the end of the episode to hear us call you out. I'll call you out at the beginning of the next one.
Let's give a shout out to Mitch as well.
And Mitch.
Mitch is one of our Mountain Murders listeners, and he's going to have Dylan at his house this week.
Yeah.
Putting up a fence.
He's letting me come to his house, bro.
So you want to hang out with Mountain Murders? All you got to do, get Dylan to put up a fence for you. You can hang out with him all day.
You mean a high-quality installation of a fence system?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
He's not dumb when he's doing fences.
No, thanks, Mitch.
Just everything else.
Appreciate you, and we appreciate everyone for listening.
Thank you, and we'll see you here on Wednesday.
We're back.
Midweek.